Today we're going to look at how to use the 3D buildings layer in Google Earth. So the first thing I would like you to do is pull up your Google Earth page so you can follow along with me. Once you have that open, let's look over at our sidebar. And as you know, we have our search tool up here. Right in here we have our places, which is our place marks and that we've marked and saved. And then down here we have our layers section. So I want to focus on that today. We will use the search tool, so let's leave that open. But we can close the places section to make it a little easier. So one way to do that, as you know, is to just click on the arrow and that will close it. And we can also, if we want more room, we can slide it up, we can slide it down. So I'll slide it up a little. So now here's our layers, and you should make sure all your layers are unchecked right now, so that they shouldn't be blue or have a check mark in them. If they're blue, it shows you that something in that layer is open. But the one I do want you to have checked on is borders and labels. Alright, so as I said, we're going to look at the 3D buildings layer today. I'm going to show you what that looks like when it's on and how to use it. This will be useful for when you create your tour and when you focus on certain cities and places. It can make a location a lot more interesting to look at when you have this layer on. So the first thing I'm going to do, we'll leave it unchecked for now, is fly to Boston. And when that brings us in, we'll zoom in a little bit closer so we can see the city. So as I get closer, you can start seeing the streets and the buildings appear. But when we get to here, we can see the tops of buildings, but we really can't see the detail of them right now. What the 3D buildings layer is great for is that it brings these buildings to life. So I'll zoom out a little bit here, and then we'll see the difference of what it looks like. Okay, so I'm going to check my 3D buildings layer on, and now I'm going to zoom back in. And what you can see is when you keep getting closer and closer, Google Earth will turn you. And we're going to look at different ways to view this. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit because right now we're in the middle of these buildings. So when you get to somewhere like here, you can use your different arrows to situate yourself and get a look at it. And this can take a little practice, and this is what I want you to do today. So here we have the zooming in and out, so we can go out a little bit. And you can see my buildings have now magically turned into three-dimensional objects. And you can also use these arrows here. This one will push you forward and backwards and side to side. And then the arrows up here will kind of tilt back and forth. So you can get a pretty cool view if you work on that, and also left to right. Another good way to use this is your north arrow. If you click on it and hold it down and then rotate, you can rotate around an area and kind of get a view from all angles. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and then I'm going to tilt up, and now I'm going to rotate around. So you take some time to practice doing this, zooming in and out, back and forth, and all around, and you can get a pretty good view of a location when you do this. Another thing I want you to look at when you're here is, if you notice, when you move your cursor around, some of these buildings will highlight, and when you click on them, oftentimes it'll give you some information about that building. So this building right in front of me here, I'll click on it, and this one doesn't give me too much. It just says building in Boston. So it hasn't been named, or nobody added that yet. But when I go to some other ones, like over here, here's the First National Bank of Boston. It's on Federal Street. Let's look at one more. We have one over here, and this is the name of a building I cannot pronounce. And the buildings over here are International Place on 150 Oliver Street in Boston. So what I would like you to do is I want you to fly to Africa, and then I would like you to focus on two cities. The first city I want you to focus on is Cairo, Egypt, and the second city is Cape Town, South Africa. And what I would like you to do is turn on your 3D buildings layer. I would like you to zoom into the city. I would like you to practice going back and forth, in and out. And then I would like you to click on some of the buildings that are highlighted, and I would like you to write in your notebooks the name of 3 buildings in each city. So give me the name of 3 buildings that you clicked on in Cairo, and then give me the names of 3 buildings in Cape Town. Now, if they're not titled, or it says something like building in Cairo, I want you to find one that does have a name. So find those, write down the names of each of them in your notebooks, and then we can look at this tomorrow.